Okay, good evening. Thank you for being here. My name is Daniel Oates. I'm the Chief of Police here in Aurora. And I think it'd be best to begin the press conference by introducing our Governor, John Hickenlooper, to make some remarks. Governor Hickenlooper.
So, this has been a long day, and I appreciate how long a day it's been for all of you in the media. We are seeing this community rise up and do the things that great communities do. We're dealing with this. We have 70 casualties, not 71. There was a double reporting there. But the stories are going to come out of this, of how in a remarkably short time the police force in Aurora responded to this situation. Their efficiency in making an apprehension, the ability of our hospitals in remarkably short order to take care of all of these casualties in incredible systems. And I'm not saying it was all perfect, but as this story is told, it will be remarkable. As of 3:30, we still had 30 patients in hospitals, 11 still in critical condition. This is an act that defies description. You can't connect emotions that we commonly think of. I mean, everyone I've talked to all day is filled with an anger that can't find focus. And I think the challenge for all of us as a community is to recognize that we have to move past that. Obviously, there's going to be a level of accountability. This individual is clearly disturbed. Either we will or we will not know exactly the roots of that, of how deep that disturbance is. We know how deep it is, but where it came from. But we are clear that we are going to rise back and lift ourselves above this. I visited several of the families in the hospital, and we're going to have, obviously, when you have that many people that have been injured, you're going to have people with lifetime disabilities. And we are already, as a community, beginning to come together. GivingFirst.org. Within 3 hours, we had $125,000 in matching gifts. So as they raise money, this is through one of the hospital networks, but all the hospitals are going to participate in this to make sure that the victims of this senseless act of violence that, again, there just aren't words. We want to do everything we can to make sure the victims are brought back in every way and supported in every way that we can. We're not going to let this community be defined by such a, if I had more sleep, I might have a better vocabulary. Anyway, I do think that the first responders were unbelievable, and their ability to work together and coordinate. Our support from the federal government has been incredible. Secretary Napolitano called me from Homeland Security early this morning and wanted to do everything she could. She was a little late because President Obama called me before that, but not until after he called Mayor Hogan. He called the police chief. I mean, the whole country recognizes that this is something that we don't accept, we can't explain at this point, but we're not going to just let it happen to us. We're going to push back. Mayor Hogan's not here. His leadership has been remarkable, and in times like this, you see, what is the true quality of people and how can they deal with situations that, there's no training, there's no way you can prepare for something like this. And I think the way he's handled all the integration of the different efforts between the federal and the state, the county and the local, it really is a remarkable skill, and he's been able to keep everybody focused together. No one's pointing fingers. Everybody's moving forward to the next step. All right, this has happened. What do we do next? So in that sense, and Chief Oates, unbelievable. I don't think I've ever done this, but I think you guys should all give Chief Oates a hand.
Oh.
So with that, I'll give it back to Chief Oates.
Okay, thank you, Governor. I want to point out that standing behind me are quite a few of our elected city officials and our state representatives. Congressman Perlmutter is also with us. And also joining me here is Special Agent Jim McCone of the FBI and Special Agent Andrew Traver of ATF. And our federal partners have been absolutely tremendous in supporting us. I really want to start by saying how proud I am of the men and women of the Aurora Police Department. And the Fire Department. Mike Garcia from the Fire Department, the Chief of the Fire Department, is also here with us. Okay, we got to straighten out some numbers. There are a total of 70 injured in this event, and as of this time, 12 dead. Still, the number is 10 in the theater. The last of the bodies were removed from the theater a little after 5 o'clock this afternoon. And I want to correct one thing. I think earlier today I said that the others were all hit by gunfire. I now know that a handful of the people who were brought to area hospitals were not hit by gunfire, but suffered other injuries as a result of the chaos and trauma in the theater. And I can't tell you how many that is, but it's a small number. Nearly everyone was shot. Little information about our subject and the weapons he obtained. In the last 60 days, he purchased 4 guns at local Metro gun shops, and through the internet, he purchased over 6,000 rounds of ammunition, more than 3,000 rounds of .223 ammunition for the assault rifle, 3,000 rounds of .40 caliber ammunition for the 2 Glocks in his possession, and 300 rounds for the 12-gauge shotgun. Also through the internet, he purchased multiple magazines for the .223 caliber assault rifle, including one 100-round drum magazine, which was recovered from the scene. I've been asked, was the weapon automatic or semi-automatic? I can't answer that question right now, but even if it was semi-automatic, I am told by experts that with that drum magazine, he could have gotten off 50 to 60 rounds, even if it was semi-automatic, within 1 minute. And as far as we know, it was a pretty rapid pace of fire in that theater. This evening at 4 o'clock, members of the police department and the many supporting agencies that have provided victim service advocates to support us met with approximately 70 members of family and friends who have not had an accounting of their missing loved ones. We met with them for approximately 90 minutes. We discussed all our efforts to identify the 10 bodies in the theater and did the best we could to deal with their grief and anguish. We are hopeful that sometime in the next hour we will get a confirmed list of the 10 deceased, and we will begin the agonizing process of meeting with those families and confirming what has happened to their loved ones. I can't emphasize enough the support of all our colleagues in local law enforcement in handling that extraordinarily difficult task. And we're also aided by our own police department psychologists. Aurora Public Schools has made available 2 high schools for tomorrow, beginning at 9 a.m. for professional grief counseling and other resources, including the resources of Aurora Mental Health and the Red Cross. Those 2 schools were open at 9 a.m. Superintendent John Barry was with us to meet with the families, and the support of the superintendent and the Aurora Public Schools has been absolutely tremendous. In addition, I'll talk a little bit about the Parish Street location. We evacuated 5 apartment buildings, including the apartment building of the subject. Those evacuees have been staying at Central High School, again with the support of Aurora Public Schools. With regard to the Parish location, it is a very vexing problem how to enter that apartment safely. I personally have never seen anything like what the pictures show us is in there. I'm a layman when it comes to bomb stuff. I see an awful lot of wires, trip wires, jars full of ammunition, jars full of liquid, things that look like mortar rounds. We have a lot of challenges to get in there safely. We decided this evening to postpone action on that until tomorrow sometime. All our folks were pretty well taxed and we needed a break. And we also, with the help of the federal government, we're bringing in some extra resources to consult on exactly how to deal with that problem. We are hopeful that we will address and resolve that problem tomorrow. Unfortunately, this means that the families that were evacuated have to spend an evening in the evacuation center. We are at this time allowing families one by one to go back into 4 of the 5 buildings to retrieve necessities like medication and those kinds of things. And again, our hope is that we'll resolve that tomorrow. With regard to the investigation, I can tell you we know a little bit more about our subject. We know he recently left the University of Colorado Medical School neuroscience program on a voluntary separation. We know he hails originally from Riverside, California, and attended UC California Riverside campus. Neighbors report to us that he lived alone and he kept to himself. I have the same cautions about the social media. One of the things modern investigators do is watch what appears on the internet to see what clues we can find, and we know that you do that too. Okay? And in the era of blogs and everything else, we just caution you that everything you read may not be true. Okay? With regard to our theaters in Aurora, there are 4 theaters in Aurora that show this movie, and until further notice, we will have some extra security at those theaters out of an abundance of caution. And I will tell you, I've been getting phone calls from some colleagues around the country asking about this, and I told them, I don't know what you should do at your theaters, but that's what we're going to do in Aurora for a while. We are fully staffed in all our districts. We are on 12-hour shifts because of the demands to support the crime scene and the new event on Paris. And thanks to the Arapahoe County SWAT team and the Denver Police Department SWAT team, if we have any demands over the next couple of days for those kinds of assets, since we are fully taxed, we will turn to our colleagues to help us. The Aurora Town Center will be open tomorrow. They have been wonderfully cooperative with the Aurora Police Department. I have a new tip line. If there are any further tips that anyone wants to be called, it's the Crime Stoppers number, 720-913-STOP, or 720-913-7867. We're also offering a general information line for the community, not for the press. I think the press knows how to reach us. But this is for the community if they have any questions. The general information number is 303-739-1862. Our suspect is now in Arapahoe County Jail. I just got a call from the sheriff. He asked me if I wanted his picture released, and I said no. So I won't be releasing his picture for investigative reasons. He will be arraigned, or have first court appearance, 8:30 a.m. on Monday in Arapahoe County District Court. There has been an overwhelming outpouring of support for our families, for our victims, for our community, for our cops, for our firefighters, for our EMS people, for our investigators by this entire community. We've received letters of concern and condolences. Just remarkable. Our community restaurants started pouring pizzas and food into our station houses here just to show support for our police department, and it's just absolutely wonderful. I have an announcement on behalf of the city. Sunday at 6:30 p.m., there will be a prayer vigil right here in front of the Aurora Municipal Center. We know the governor and the mayor will speak, and there will be an appropriate moment for reflection for our community. Finally, I want to offer a huge thanks to our coroner, Michael Doberson, for all he has done to help us with the crime scene today and to expedite the recovery and identification of the bodies, which is so, so important to our community. And in terms of the next press briefing, we expect to be able to brief you tomorrow afternoon right here at 2 p.m.